We talked about early on in the first clip that I posted about block patterns, and this is just I'm just going to go through drafting the standard skirt block. And first of all, what you have to do is to get a sheet of paper, whether it's plain, spot and cross paper, and it's got to be big enough because you've already established your waist, your hips and your length. So what we have to do is to create a rectangle on the paper, as you can see. So we have one short side at the top, another short side at the bottom, a long side down from the top to the bottom, and another long side from the top to the bottom down. So we establish those lines, and then to establish it, we draw a straight line first, then we square a line out. We square a line out there at the top, and we square a line at the bottom out, and then we measure half the hip measurement from one corner, which I've labeled. You can say 1 or, and I start to label it at A. So from A, I square the line out to my half the hip measurement. So for example, your hips are 36, you do 18 inches, or the equivalent, whatever it is in centimeters, out, and you put a mark, and you do the same thing at the bottom, square a line out along there, and then you put a mark, and then you connect the line all the way up to the top. So then you create what is called a rectangle on your paper, as you can see. Then you can label it where I say A and B, and we can call that corner out there C and that one D. And once we've got that, that is our rectangle that we created on our paper to start drafting our skirt block on. So this is what we do. So the next thing we do, we're going to measure down our hip measure, which is 8 inches to arrive at your hip, and that depending on how tall you are, how short you are, and it's the fullest part around your buttocks. So whatever that measurement is, you use half that measurement and you measure that out along there, which will touch on that line there. So once you've got that, that is your hip measurement, and you can write on there your hip, which has got the hip on there, measurements. And then the next thing you need to do is to divide that rectangle into half, and then you draw a straight line down to the bottom. Okay, and once you've done that, what you do is you then begin to find your dart, establish a dart measure in there. So normally at the front we do 1.25 inches. So you measure out 3 inches from A outwards, and you put a mark, and then you measure from there out 1.25 inches. You find the half of that and you put a line right through, and you take it right through to the bottom. And then you measure the length of the dart that you require. On the front we make it 4, and then we connect up the lines from there to there and there. And then the next thing we do the same thing at the back. We come in 3 inches, we make the width of the dart 1.5 inches, we find the half of that, which is the center, and we connect a line all the way down through to the bottom. And then we find the length that we want the dart to be, which is 5 inches from the top to there, and then we connect a line and draw the dart shaping in. And then the next thing we need to do is to establish the rest of the waist on the back section and on the front. So we're calling this section here the front, and we're calling this section here the back. See that I've written there CB, shorten, for centre back, and I've written here CF for centre front. So once we've done that now, we know we've come out to start the dart 3 inches. So we need to find the rest of half a quarter of the waist. So if our waist is 24, half of that is 12 and a quarter of that is 6. So we've got 3 inches from there to there. I've labelled it A and that's H. So that's 3 inches in there. So we have to measure from the end of the dart here, which is I, out the other 3 inches, and we put a mark, and we do the same thing on the back. We measure from there, the other 3 inches, we put a mark, and then with our curve, we curve it from there into the hip line, and we do the same thing here, and that creates the hip line of our block. So that is how we create the basic standard block. And then after we've done that, we then cut out the shape. So we're going to cut around, we're going to cut up that line there, we're going to cut across there, and we're going to cut across there and down there and separate it all the way down. So we've got that section here, which is the front, and then we cut away from there, down the shape there, and along the top, down the back, and across there. So we've got the back, and then we've got the front, a quarter of the skirt. So this is how we create the skirt block. And once you've got that, you cannot go wrong, and you've done it to your measurements, you can go straight ahead and begin to do your styling on your blocks. So this is how we create the front and back block.